Hedge there, tube dwellers. Welcome back to a series from the Kaspersky Arena. This is going to be a best of 5 between the champion that we've been following thus far, Mr. Empire Happy, and a new challenger, which, since we just loaded into the game in due time, we'll introduce first as Liquid TLO, the Cyan Zerg. In the bottom right-hand corner of Whirlwind, blue versus blue, TLO says. Ah, what a joy to cast this will be. Spawning in the bottom left-hand side is the aforementioned Happy. We saw him take it to a Protoss in the last series. This will again be a best of 5. Now, Happy won the last one 3-0 against a Protoss named Acro. TLO, though, at least in name, is a larger opponent. We'll have to stay tuned to see how Happy does against him. And hopefully we'll be in store for some brand new stuff, given that we saw the pretty usual bio-oriented play against the Protoss. It may still be bio, though it will likely include at least mines. And it could even be something totally different, like, say, mech play? I don't know. I don't know how much Happy plays mech, honestly. I can't say I've followed Happy all that much. We are watching a game from a kind of smaller German tournament. I think it's run monthly. At least whenever I find the replays, I find them in monthly increments. Maybe it's the finals that are monthly. Maybe some games are played every week of it. That sounds likely. We're going to be watching a smaller tournament, though, so Happy I haven't seen in a lot of large tournaments. Of course, in the last series, I quoted his most recent impressive victory to get to the round of 16 in WCS EU. But he was put out there. Not to spoil it, but it's been out for a little while, so you should have already known that. If you keep up with the scene, which should be the only way you mind getting a spoiler about it. Command Center first is going to be the order from Happy. Barracks is coming up right behind it to finish off the wall in. Hatchery first is coming up from Mr. TLO. Dario, the German player, putting down his spawning pool. Right afterwards, timing's looking very similar on all of that. Honestly, considering the different races, the builds from these two look pretty much identical. Of course, you could argue that the average for Terran is not to Command Center first, and the average for Zerg is to Hatch first, so one is doing a slightly more standard play than the other. As far as they break down, though, they're basically the exact same build. No differences to take note of yet. Orbital Command is building now, so TLO should get a couple drones ahead, whereas Happy will very soon start dropping mules, absolving that minute advantage altogether. TLO's going to take a couple whacks at this SCV, but he's not going to get him. He doesn't have Zergling speed. The SCV moves a little bit faster than the Zergling. Actually, I think that's wrong. I think the Zergling 295 moves a little bit faster than the SCV 281. Yeah, that's the case, but it's not enough so that the SCV can die very quickly to the Zerglings. Of course, if you run around for too long, he'll eventually get picked off, but normally it's not hard to save an SCV from Lings without speed. We see the Marines are slow to come out with this Command Center first play, but they are coming out now, and a Reactor and a Factory are going down at the same time. The SCV is saved. He gets home with 10 health, so it still would have taken at least another 2 whacks, I think maybe even a third. Is there an armor on SCVs? By default, no. It would have taken exactly 2 whacks from these Zerglings. These whack-happy Zerglings. Just going to be whacking in the direction of anything they see coming. No puns intended. The gases are up for TLO. He hasn't saturated him yet. Here goes the saturation. 3-3, as you would expect. Second base getting its mineral saturation on. What's he building? I don't understand. There's a lack of a third here. Now, maybe because both of these thirds are pretty wide open. And you know what? As I say it, boom, it goes down. This does feel a little late, though. Would have expected that to come up maybe closer to the 5-minute mark. You know what? 6 minutes. That's not too late. That's a slight difference. That's just probably prioritizing a couple drones and maybe another queen maybe even the spine crawler over the hatch. If you cut this spine crawler out, would have been a touch faster. And he does have 4 queens, right? Yeah, 1 in the main, 1 at the natural, 2 spreading creeps. So TLO's creep spread is going to get insane fast. He's also taking the next 2 gas. He's at about 42 workers. That went down probably right around the 50 food mark. So looking to get all the gases up fast. That kind of feels Muta-centric to me, but I don't know. We'll have to see. The Hellions are going to poke in here. They do see the 3rd, correct? They do. The Queens are going to keep them at bay, though. A single gas in the main. Interesting. So Happy took a gas at the natural instead of taking this gas in the main, because this gas is very easy to be spotted. So he's denying TLO that potential scouting information. And he's also putting all of his tech over here away from this side of his base, which is intelligent for the same reason. The scouting overlord potential. Oh my! It looks like we got some Hellion count, what, up to 4? Did he just dive in as soon as he got 4 Hellions? Guys, I missed a lot of harass there, and I'm really sorry. 10 workers. Holy hell. It looks like most of the drones were saved, but 10 is a solid number. That keeps TLO within about 10 of Happy. And that's right where Happy wants him to be. Now, Happy's not getting a 3rd command center, so it looks like he's going to be putting together a timing here. And his economy is not going to be able to take off in steamroll fashion the way a lot of Terrans pull off these days. Instead, he's going to rely on a little bit of harassment to try to keep TLO's worker count somewhat equal. At least lower than it could be. TLO's now working on saturating the 3rd. These Hellions could get a couple more drones here. There's not enough defense here to even kill the Hellions. TLO will save a few drones by making extractors of them. But Happy's going to get out without a single loss, so another 2 drones down. TLO's having a difficult time keeping this little drone lead that he's got. And I was right, it is a Spire. There's a Spire coming up. It's in the main, it's between the main and the natural to some degree. There's a Baneling Nest coming up as well, and Zergling upgrades going down. All of this looks really common. More workers biting the dust. We're up to 16 now, as well as some Zerglings. These Hellions are all arranged perfectly. They're all taking so much damage, but just not going down. And it looks like we're going to end at 17, but with a substantial number of Zerglings killed as well. TLO's got a very small army. Of course, so far he's only dealt with Hellions. But the whole time he's dealing with these Hellions and hemorrhaging units, Happy is building up an army. And it looks like another 4 Hellions, make that 6 Hellions, are going to come to the front lines with a gaggle of Marines. Combat Shield's about to finish. Stim is already finished. We've got 27 Marines here and a couple medevacs. This is kind of a nasty push. TLO may be able to deal with it with this Baneling count, though. The Banelings are pretty well timed. Speed won't be finished. So we're going to look to see a Stim split here. And we're going to see if TLO is able to muster enough Banelings and Zerglings. He's waiting on Zerglings to come out of the production queue. He's got about 14 coming. He needs to not lose anything over here at this 3rd base until he's ready to engage this. Some Banelings did hit a few infantry on the back side. It looks like TLO wants to go for a counterattack. He's not ready to fight this. Happy split his army up beautifully. TLO will catch some reinforcements, but that's TLO's whole army. He's losing basically everything he has just to kill the reinforcements. There's still an army here. Happy's going to back out. It looks like he's going to get a couple more drone and overlord kills. Nah, the drones should be able to get away. The overlords will go down for sure, though. And TLO will have to restart a 3rd base. Now, TLO did get the Mutatech down. He's only got 3 Mutas so far. He is building 5 more. 8 Mutas is not that threatening, though. TLO should be able to trap and kill this army. It's pretty small. 2 medevacs worth of Marines have picked up, and they're going into the main. That's going to keep TLO occupied. Happy's going to drop some Marines. It's going to come out almost just in time. The medevac does still go down with some in it. And overall, the drops are defended. But Happy uses the other Marines to ensure that this 3rd base isn't going back up. TLO just now starting it. Huge delays in his economy. Basically on 2 base this entire time. Saturation never got up and running at that 3rd. Upgrade-wise, it looks like TLO's in the lead. He's going on 2 damage, and he's got the 1 carapace. But he's going on 2 damage about as far as Happy is 1-1. So Happy delayed his upgrades to make that push happen, but that push was a smashing success. Taking out the 3rd is beautiful, and that means that Happy... Oh, some Widow Mine hits going off. Happy can delay his 3rd all he wants. As a matter of fact, it's completed. He's just cool with it chilling in the base. Doesn't mind having it there whatsoever. He can float it out whenever he's good and ready. We are working on 6 barracks and 2 factories, so I'm guessing Happy's probably going to get his Widow Mine upgrade to help them burrow a little faster, and he's probably going to be producing 3 Widow Mines at a time. Of course, the medevacs continue to come out. I'm kind of interested to see exactly how many Widow Mines Happy ends up using. Personally, in my own games, I've used this biomine style, and I don't really like it. I think the mines are a lot less reliable than siege tanks, and maybe more mobile, but at the same time less versatile. You can't siege with them. I love being able to siege. I love being able to stay out of an opponent's range and kill his stuff. That's just beautiful. It's so tactical. And I don't really like it. I don't really like mines. I don't really like the biomine style, so I'm looking for inspiration. Hopefully see how Happy pulls off some aspects of this and maybe incorporate them. Poor little SV caught behind the missile turret there. Of course, this probably isn't the greatest example of how this is going to work out, of how the Terran composition is going to play out, because he's almost won the game based strictly on a timing. He got into the third. There's another engagement here. TLO's catching a good bit of forces. Happy has a lot of reinforcements, though. The food count is heavily in his favor. But TLO, oh, if he manages the banelings right, but he didn't. He was set up to get a lot of worker kills there, but the banelings ended up detonating on some structures, and Happy's able to keep his pretty ridiculous worker count. He's actually 1 worker ahead of TLO, meaning their saturation is identical, and then Happy has mules on top of it. TLO does have his 3rd base back up, and he's working on a 4th. And it looks like Happy wants to get aggressive. His timing is lined up pretty well with the 4th. As a matter of fact, I wonder. He hasn't seen it yet, so it's just good timing sense. He just knows about when TLO's going to want to take it. Muta's into the main. They'll pick off a depot. There are turrets in place. There are also Marines and Widow Mines getting into place. And we have a single Muta harassing the 3rd base. Wow, that's really creative. It didn't actually get any kills, but against a lesser player, that could very likely go unnoticed as he harasses with the cluster of Mutas in the main. Happy needs to be careful not to leave his medevacs behind. He does have plenty of them, though. This is a totally Marine-oriented biomine force. Normally you see Marine Marauder, but there are no Marauders in this mix. All Marines, and I think that's the right call, given that there are no roaches on the field. All these banelings. Happy is okay with losing what he has so far. The Widow Mine shots are actually pretty good, and he's got a lot of Marines left here. TLO's been at a bit of a disadvantage since that 3rd base went down, and Happy is maintaining his advantage while continuing to push TLO down in a gutter. So I've got to wonder, what's his escape plan? How is TLO going to get out of this gutter and back on his feet? How is he going to get forces rolling enough that he can take an engagement? Some drones. If Happy decides to push straight over here, they may be compromised, but I have a feeling he'll probably back out the top side of that. A couple straggler Marines getting spotted on creep and picked off. Oh, Happy going into mass production mode. He's got his 4th command center coming out close to location, not quite on it. Muta's going back into the main. It's a big enough cluster now that missile turrets are no problem. He's got +1 damage. He's getting +2. I've got to say, with the disadvantage that TLO has enjoyed this whole match so far, he's done really good at maintaining this Mutalist count. He's lost almost no Mutas, and he's got a very large number at this point, 26, with another 6 or so in the cooker. Happy looking to do a little split pushing here. He's going to take this force that killed off the 4th and move right up towards the 3rd with it. TLO's got enough to deal with this, though. Happy's got good splits, and there are enough Widow Mines in it that he should be able to get at least an even engagement. Is he going to kill any Mutalisks? He does pick off a straggler here and there, but I think the cluster is big enough that far and away the Mutalisks will win out without any losses. Just a Muta or 2 here and there. Happy, though, with the drop. Beautiful timing with the counter swing. I said something about split pushing. Honestly, I was expecting the main force to come out from his base, but no. Instead, it's medevacs around the corner. Again, TLO cleans this up well, but I fear he did take some losses that time. The drone count down to 67. Staying roughly even with his Terran opponent. I'm really impressed he's even still in this. There are a lot of Widow Mines there. Oh my god, it looks like TLO knows it. Oh, Jesus, the Mutalisks. Those Widow Mine hits were too good. TLO knows it. He's out. There were too many Widow Mines there. TLO knew somewhere there. He was splitting his Mutas up to deal with them, but he didn't split them well enough. And Happy did have a good enough split on his Marines that they didn't all die when the Banelings came in. So beautiful execution. Awesome way to take a little bit of an advantage and just continue to work with it. Good job, Happy. Game number 1 in the record books. We're going to load up game number 2. Coming right at you. Stay tuned, guys. See you later.